This is a key junction, because Christ is here telling Peter about his work in the early New Testament church as an apostle. And here's this prominent disciple, and what special work and calling does Christ have for this beloved disciple, the one who he sat by at the Last Supper, the one who said to him, Lord, who is it that's going to betray you? I know that Peter, I've just been called to feed Christ's sheep and feed his lambs as a shepherd. I wonder what work John will be called to do. And I've been called to feed Christ's sheep and lambs because I love Christ. And John loves Christ. He's the beloved disciple. I wonder, does he love Christ more than I do? Or maybe less than I do? And Christ has just told me, Peter, how I'm going to die, that it's going to be a martyrdom. That's the sense of verses 18 and 19. And it's going to be when I'm old. Evidently I have some more years to do, and then I will be executed for the faith. And what about John, the beloved disciple? Is there some special niche for him? How's he going to die? Will he be martyred? How old will he be when he dies? Lord, what shall this man do? And we are called to avoid this sort of speculation and idle, fruitless curiosity. Lord, and what is this seminarian going to do? Or that professor or some other minister? I wonder how long he's going to live. Wouldn't it be nice to know? I wonder where he's going to labour. I wonder how he's going to die. I wonder will he spend his last 10 years in an old people's home? What's going to happen to him? I wonder if so-and-so's ever going to be an elder or a deacon, and how they'll get on, how long they'll serve. Or what about the other members? What about so-and-so over there or over here, or sits in front of me or behind me? What has the Lord planned for him or her? Who are they going to marry? What are they going to do with their lives? Lord, and what will this one do? So how does Christ react to this sort of thing and the motivation from which it proceeded, because he knows the heart? Does Christ encourage this? What will this man do? Yeah, that's a good question, Peter. I'm glad you mentioned that. Does Christ applaud it as if it were love of the brethren? Or does he shrug his shoulders and let it pass as if it were essentially harmless? Or does he, and you've read the second point from the bulletin, and you've heard me state it, does he rebuke it? Does he, in this way, nip it in the bud? Yes, that's what he does here, verse 22. Jesus saith unto him, If I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to thee? Follow thou me. Jesus exposes Peter's question as idle and unhealthy curiosity. If I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to thee? If I will that he lives to 2,000 years old and flies to the moon by flapping, what's that got to do with you? It's not your business. And Peter, you may pretend here to speak out of concern for the brother and his work and the church, but that's not where that's coming from, because I know this is none of your business. But out. Peter, you need to drop this, because this is the sort of thing that distracts and holds people back from their calling. And there are various things that Christ points out in the gospel accounts that hold us back. Sometimes it's a family or earthly tie that is over strong. In Luke 9 verse 59, Jesus said to one man, Follow me. But he said, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. Jesus said to him, Let the dead bury their own dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of God. I overrule that tie. It's too strong on your part. I, the Lord of life, have called you, go and preach the kingdom. I don't want any excuse. And here, in John 20, it's an unhealthy concern or anxiety or interest in others, other Christians, or here another office bearer, even here another apostle. I wonder, Peter is saying in effect, I wonder, is he going to do more or less than me for the kingdom of heaven? I wonder, is he going to labor for a longer or shorter time than me? I wonder, is his death going to be a more honourable death than mine? Lord, and what shall this man do? What about him? Tell me a little about him. I'm interested. Of course, raises the question, well, what are you going to do with this information if Christ were to give it? And according to his divine nature, Christ, one would presume, could have given it. Are you going, Peter, to puff yourself up because you're already engaging in idle speculation? If I say that you're going to be more industrious than him, or that you're going to be more successful in your labours, will you puff yourself up and say, oh, that's good, I'm going to do an awful lot better than John? Or are you, on the other hand, because the question's proceeding from a wrong motive and therefore things go downhill, are you, if I tell you that he is going to endure greater hardships than you and be more fruitful, are you going to get all depressed and jealous about it? Would that be the result? Or are you going to take it as a good excuse for your own feelings? If he does badly, you see, John didn't do that well either, so that lets me off the hook. In short, if I tell you this, would you use it for all sorts of unhealthy comparisons? Because we read in the epistles to the Corinthians that people comparing themselves with others are not wise. Unhealthy comparisons. How would this knowledge help you? How would it know? How would it do you any good if I were to tell you about the future service of somebody else? Would it enable you better to fulfill your calling, which must be your own focus, in the place where God has called you? Think about what you're to do. And don't butt into somebody else's business. And so the question comes to us, well, if God told you what so-and-so's future for years ahead would be, somebody here, that so-and-so would or would not serve in such and such an office, that maybe so-and-so is going to go to seminary to train to be a pastor or teacher, and he's going to do X, Y, and Z, or that so-and-so is going to do well spiritually and become highly respected in the church, what good does it do you? How does it help you? Lord, and what shall this man do? Instead of allowing Peter to continue in vain and unhealthy curiosity, Christ reiterates his calling to Peter. If I will that he tarry till I come. What's that to you? Follow thou me. That's what you're to concern yourself about. Follow me. Don't bother about that. Follow me. But what's he got? Follow me. Before this question of Peter, this question mentioned in verse 21, what was the last thing that Christ told him? It comes at the end of verse 19. Follow me. Follow me. You got that, Peter? I've told you all those things in verses 15 through 19. Now, here it is in 2 words. Follow me. And then Peter looks around, he sees John. Well, what's he going to do? What about him? And Christ says to him in verse 22, look, if I will that he lives to 2,000 years old, that's none of your business. I've told you, follow me. That's it. That's only a distraction, Peter. Stick you with your calling and don't fly off with flights of fancy.